Shenis Gairo. Beat the imo. 44a, bottom of the page. Mishnah. Okay, the Mishnah. No, it's Amud Aleph. Okay. Hagiyorshin is Gairo, a converted, beat the imo, and the child converted with her. Okay? She converted before she was 3 years old. So therefore she's definitely a virgin. Right? Any non-Jew converts after 3, we have to suspect they're not a virgin. So the daughter is a Gioris who's a virgin. No question. Vizinso. And let's say she was married. What's that locha? Nairum Rosa. Girl's 12 years old. A virgin who commits adultery. Torah says she's stoned. She's put to death by stoning. What about a woman's not a virgin? Even though she's 12 and she commits adultery? Or a fully married woman? What's the liability? Chenek. Strangulation. So this girl, she's definitely a virgin. Physically, she's a virgin. But she's a Gioris. So the question is, do you put to death by stoning if she committed adultery? Or chenek, as if she's not a virgin? Meaning strangulation. So, Hagiorishin is gara biti imo of the zins harizu bechenek. The death penalty is chenek, not skilo. Ein lo pesach beisovio. Ein lo pesach av, lo me'aselo. Also, let's say it says that where is she stoned? Because the Torah says she's stoned at the entrance of her father's house. She has no father, right? She converted. There's no pedigree from before. What about if, let's say, she marries and the husband slanders her and accuses her she committed adultery, and then you find the husband was slander? So it says you give the husband 100 lashes, and he pays 100 selah to the father of the girl. This girl has no father, so therefore there's no pes beisavia v'lo be'asela. He doesn't pay the penalty because he only paid a penalty if there's a father. There's no father here. The Gemara will discuss what about let's say she's an orphan. She's a Jewish girl, an orphan. Does she receive the 100 or not? What happens to the conception was before the mother converted? Yeah? And then subsequently the mother converts. So at the time of birth, there was a separate conversion on. So the daughter was born from a Jewish mother. You got it? Hello? Yeah. Okay, so when the child was born, it was born from a Jewish mother. That's called Harosa Shelo B'Kedusha. At time of conception, it was not a state of Kedusha, but Leidosa B'Kedusha. But the birth was Kedusha. Harezu B'Skila. Then, if she commits adultery, as a 12-year-old girl, she's put to death through stoning. Ve'ein law base of, but where if she's stoned? She's not stoned in the entrance of father. She has no father, right? Because she was conceived, right? Her mother wasn't even Jewish. V'lo meo sela. Also, if so, she's slandered because it says you paid to her father. She has no father. She never had a father. Hoiso rosa v'leidosa b'kedusha. What happens? The mother conceives, and the mother she's a Gioris, regular Gioris. So a daughter that's born from a Gioris, right? Harezu kebas Yisrael hod varel. Yesh lo av. Stop. So she's Jewish, and therefore, what about Yesh lo av ein lo pesach beisav? Let's say she has a father, a regular girl, 12 years old, and she commits adultery at the age of 12, a virgin. So it says normally you stone her at the entrance of a father's house. She has a father, but the father's homeless. So there's no house. Yesh lo pesach beisav ein lo av. What about she's an orphan? She's an orphan. She had a father, he died. There's a house, the father's house. Harezu b'skilo. She gets skilo. Why? Lo nema pesach beisav el mitzvah. It's not a prerequisite to stoning. She's stoning the house. Or the father. Because it says she doesn't have a father also. But it says lo nema pesach beisav el mitzvah. Okay? Mnani mili. How do we know that although she's born Jewish, but if it's the conception she wasn't? She was conceived before the mother converted. Even though when the mother converted she was born Jewish, how do we know in that case she receives chenek, right? The Mishnah says. It says she receives skilo, There's no Pesach Esav, there's no Mea Kesef. You don't pay the 100 in the slander. Odamakro, Umeso. It says, and she will die. It says she dies through stoning. The Rabbos Horosh L'Bekdusha L'Dos B'Kedusha. Right? So Rashi explains, it says, the members of the community will stone her and she will die. So Umeso, if you stone her for, she's going to die. What does the Torah say? And she will die. To include that even a situation where she was conceived not as a Jew, as long as she was born as a Jew, it's good enough. Ihochi milkanami loki, omeyanami l'shalom. So that's the case. If the husband, as you put her to death, if she commits adultery as if she'd be a Jewish woman, born from Jewish parents, so why not regarding if the husband should slander her, right? He should pay the 100 selah, and also he should get malchus. Omakro umeso. It says umeso. No, what does that mean? Lemisa nisrapsa lo leknas. Mean she will be stoned and she will die. Mean for dying, we treat her like a regular Jewess. But for the other issues, the 100 paying the 100, or the actually Pesach Beisavir, not, or the Malchus. Somebody says, why? They able the rabbis or Russell the Bigdusha. Is why maybe Umesa should come to include maybe this woman has no father. It's like a Jewish woman conceives from a goy. A non-Jew impregnates a Jewish woman. There we say, if she commits adultery, she's put to death. You'd say, but she has no father. And right, this girl has no father. So maybe that's Umesa comes to tell me. You would think maybe there she shouldn't get skila because she has no father. Umesa tells me she does have a father. She does have a father. On that it says, Horosav lidos b'kedusha Yisrael mal you say. There's a full-fledged Jew. Just because she has no father, it's irrelevant whether she has a father or not. Right? If she was conceived from a Jewish mother and the mother gave birth to her, that's a full-fledged Jew. Not having a father means nothing. He says, okay, let's go to the other extreme. What are we saying when Mesa comes to include the interim case? She was conceived not from a Jewish mother, but at the time of birth, the mother was Jewish. Maybe Mesa says it comes even to include where even at the time of birth she wasn't Jewish. As long as she's a virgin, she was converted before she was 3 years old, right? That's enough. In Cain, Bisra Mayhanile. So if that's the case, how do we differentiate between her and a Jew? Because it says she did Nevola B'Yisrael. Her behavior is an abomination among Jews. Right? What are you blaming us? She was conceived not Jewish. She was born not Jewish. It says, you know why you put her to death through stem? Because it's a disgrace among Jews. A disgrace. She's a newcomer. No, the answer is she was born Jewish. So therefore, since she was born Jewish, that's a disgrace among Jews. But if she converted after she was born, why is that a blemish on us? How does that reflect poorly on us? Look where she comes from. You understand? She's Jewish, fully Jewish. She doesn't need conversion. She's born Jewish. A child that's born from a Jewish mother is Jewish. Needs no conversion. Yeah. No, the Besdin. We had it earlier in Kesuvos. It's done because it's considered an opportunity to be a Jew. So therefore, the Besdin converts her at the time of conversion, even as a minor. It's being she converted together since the parents want to be Jewish, so the child wants to be whatever the parent wants. And as long as later, when she becomes an adult, she doesn't protest what they did as a child, it remains in place. And she converts with 10-year-old is considered an adult for a non-Jew. At 10 years old, she's an adult because she has a full intelligence, right? Well, let's see, she was converted at 2 years old, so she didn't even know what was going on, right? Then you need that because it's the parents and you have the Besdin. That's the reason why the conversion is considered a conversion. But if she agrees to it, but it has nothing to do with the parents. Let's say a 10-year-old non-Jew who comes to Besdin and say, I want to be a Jew. and she passes all the whatever's, the valuation. She converts, she's a full Jewess. Because she's considered a competent person. No, there's no reneging. If she converts at 10, there's no reneging. About 9 years old. 9-year-old's a non-Jew. Not if she's an adult. For a non-Jew, an adult over 9-year-old is an adult for a non-Jew. A Jew is special. It's exeris hakosov. As intelligent and as maturium as you may be, to be an adult you have to be 13 years old. But that law only pertains to a Jew, not to a non-Jew. For a non-Jew, it's based on intelligence, purely intelligence. If you're intelligent enough to know the difference between right and wrong, that's considered an adult. Boy and girl, same thing. Right. So if in the hospital they give a no resuscitate clause, even if it's 9 or 10, it's considered valid for a non-Jew. Okay? So, Howard's not smiling today. Okay. Yeah, okay. Omer Reb Yossi Reb Chanina, Hamotzi Shem Al Yisov, an interesting shaila. Let's say a girl, she's an orphan. She gets married, and the husband, they have kedusha. Now he consummates the marriage. 12 months later, he says, the daughter wasn't a virgin. She wasn't a virgin. That means she committed adultery. And he brings witnesses that she committed adultery. And then afterwards, subsequently, they bring other witnesses to prove that the witnesses the husband brought were false witnesses. So the Torah says you put the witnesses to death. The husband gets malchus, and he has to pay 100 selah. Right? He has to pay 100 coins, silver coins. So the question is, but the Torah, in that context, Torah discusses there's a father involved. Right? The father. What happens if she's an orphan? She has no father. And the husband, so fully girl born Jewish from 2 Jewish parents, the father dies before the accusation is made. She's an orphan. Do you employ all the laws which pertain to a slanderer? A husband is a slanderer. That's the question. So Rabbi Yosef Chanina says, "Havotzi shemer al yisoma potur shenemar." Why? Was this v'nosnu lavi anara? It says, to who do you give the money to? The father of the nara. Prat lezu sheino av. Okay, there's no av, there's no father. Moser Rabbi Yossi ber Ovin, so Rabbi Yossi Ovin asks from Brai Vitaim Rabbi Yossi ber Zvido. It says in the Torah, v'moy nimoy. What happens if a what's name rapes a girl, right? So this rapes or seduces a girl, a 12-year-old girl. So if the father and the girl they agree that he should marry, he has to marry them. What about he wants to marry? The father's opposed to it, and she's opposed to it. He doesn't say he doesn't marry. No, not he's not married. The rape or the seduction is not the marriage. There's no, okay? This is moin yemoin avil the rabbis yisoma l'knas here. The moin yemoin that it could say moin. What does it say yemoin? That comes to include the orphan for knas. The Rabbi Yosef Galili. So you see clearly. So you have a case of what? Of an orphan girl. Although there's no father to pay the knas to, it says it comes to include the orphan girl. Who most of them, who Faraklos. So the one who asked the question, he answers the question. Right? He asks it and answers it. What is it? Meaning, at the time that he raped her or he seduced her, she wasn't an orphan. Father was alive. Subsequently, he dies. So since at the time of the rape or the seduction, there was father, that's the reason. But if actually at the time of the rape or seduction it was not, then he doesn't pay. That's how we reconciled it. Rava Machayiv. Rava says no. That even if she's an orphan, a person's mostly shemer on an orphan, you pay. You pay. Mimai. Why? Why should you pay? But we asked a good question. It says Nos Lavi Anara. It says you have to give it to the father of the maiden. There's no father. Mimai b'Toni Ami Besulas Yisrael L'Besulas Gerin. Ami says she has to be a virgin, but it says Besulas Yisrael L'Besulas Gerin. She has to be a virgin who's Jewish and not a virgin who is a what? Who's a convert. Now, a convert, right? A convert. She has no father. She has no father. She has no mother, right? Neither. And the Torah says, Who do you pay it to? Because he raped Besulas Yisrael. He raped a virgin who was Jewish. And it says that we include the goy. What if you tell me even a Jew has no father? You don't pay. So what do we have to convert to compensate? Anybody who doesn't have a father. So evidently, you see, no. We're excluding specifically because she's a convert. But if she had a father, though the father's no longer alive, you do pay. Yeah? Phenomenal. If you tell me that even she has no father, you pay where she's Jewish, therefore, even though she doesn't have a father, you pay. So therefore, you need a pasuk to tell me if she's a convert, although she has no father, you may think you should pay. But it says Yisrael, she has to be original Jew, but not a convert. But if you tell me an orphan girl, even if she's Jewish, the rapist or the slanderer doesn't pay, boy. I mean, if a girl who had a father, who no longer has a father, you pay. Is there a consideration? By a convert who never had a father, you should pay. What do I need a separate miut? What do I need an exclusion? It's Shiloh, right? Let's say a father marries off his daughter as a minor. It's a Torah marriage. If a father marries his daughter as a minor, it's a Torah marriage. After he marries her off, he says, I did not find her to be a virgin. Okay? He slanders the child, right? Potter. You don't pay kanas. Shenemar, it says, V'nosnu lavi hanaro. Right? You have to give to the father of the naro. What's a naro? 12-year-old. Now, if you remember before, we had naro sometimes written deleted, although the vowels are naro something. Naro here, when it speaks about slander, it's written in its full spelling. That means here, nara means she has to be 12 years old. She has to be 12 years old. You give to the father of the girl who's 12 years old. So if she's a minor, nara molek dibirakosa, we're speaking of a full nara, not a girl who's evolving to be a nara. Maskul rabacha bar time because of hanaro. You tell him what's the reason why it's not considered he doesn't pay? Because it says hanaro. Holafochi havamina fil ktar. I think maybe slander even applies to a minor. What does there say? If she committed adultery, what happens? You put her to death. The minor, you don't put to death, right? There's no liability for a minor, correct? Even though it's a Torah marriage. Hoksiv v'memes hoyadover azelu nimsa besulim lenaro v'hotzi es anare el pesavei saviv uskila bektano usakluo. So she'll be taken to the end of her father's house. She'll be stoned. Tano labas onchini. She's not subject to punishment. So how could you tell me that what? What do you tell me that the reason why you can't be Motzi Shem on a Katano? It's because it says Hanara. What do we need Hanara for? It's speaking of a person who normally be subject to the death penalty. A minor is subject to the death penalty. So a minor is not subject to the death penalty. Right? Elo kan naro. He says, you know what it comes to teach me? Of course, you're right. What to write Nara? How do I know that Nara means 12 and not doesn't mean less? Because we rule like the Chachomim. If a man rapes a minor, a girl who's a minor, what's the halacha? As long as she's 3 or more, you pay kanas. It says Nara because Nara is written deleted. So we say Nara means a katana who will eventually be a Nara. When it's written its full spelling, what does Nara mean? It means 12 years old. By Motzi Shem it says the full Nara. But how do I know that Nara, when it's written in its full spelling, means 12? Because in that parshas it speaks about if in fact she committed adultery, she should be put to death. So that reveals to me what kind of Nara. When does Nara mean a 12-year-old girl? When it's written in its full spelling. When it speaks about rape or it speaks about seduction, the word Nara is written in a deleted form. So it's to teach me that what's written in its full spelling, it means 12 years old, and what's written in its deleted form, it means a minor evolving to become a maiden, to become a Nara. Okay, that's what he says. Before 3, it's not possible because it's not called a sexual act, right? Elakan, the 3 day means she passed. She began the 4th year. Day means even a minute. Elakan naro kom okshinema nar naro delete afil ktano b'mashu tani shilo shlosha midos benaro. The 3 laws which pertain to a naro. What are they? Bolo edim bebeis chomir shezinso. Let's say witnesses come and they testify that during the 12-month period when she was still in her father's household, right, there's a 12-minute period, she committed adultery. So what do you do with her? Sokolinosa. You put her to death through stoning. Because that's Naira Marosa. Witnesses testify she committed adultery between 12 and 12 and a half. So what do? You stone her. Right? Sokolinosa Pesavia Klomar. Why do you choose to stone her at the entrance of her father's house? Right? She already moved in with her husband. Klomar, Rugi Dulim, she gidaltim. Yeah? They said, look what kind of child you raised. You know, she committed adultery. She wasn't even out of the house yet. And she committed adultery already. Bolo Aiden bebeis ovio. Zinsu beis ovio. Let's say the witnesses didn't come on a later date, when she was 15. They came within the period between 12 and 12 and a half. And they come to testify in court. The girl, she's 12 years and 3 months. Your daughter committed adultery while she's under your supervision. Soken al pesach savio. Excuse me. Then soken also al pesach sharir. Not at Pesach Beisavia, then it's Beisoir. Then it's the city, that's the Bezdin. Shar Beisoir means the city, the Bezdin. Yeah. See the pasuk that it says that he claims that she committed adultery. It's speaking by Motzi Shemra. That means she entered into chuppah. It's beyond chuppah. Doesn't says I did not find besulim. When is he saying that? That's it, post chuppah, right? So therefore it says you take her to Pesach Beisovio. That means she's fully married. But what about if they come and they say she never entered chuppah? This is pre-chuppah. Witnesses come. She said committed adultery. So then you take her to the Bezdin, right? You take him to the gate of the city, means the Bezdin. Sorcha l'psov bogro tidin bechenik. Second. What about Sorchud of Bogro? Let's say she committed adultery when she was between 12 and 12 and a half, but it first came to light when she's already beyond 12 and a half. We have different cases. If she committed adultery between 12 and 12 and a half, but it came to light, but she's not beyond 12 and a half yet. She's already beyond chuppah, then she gets skila, because she's still in nara. Right? And where do you stone her? Pesach Beisovio, at the entrance of father's house. What happens if witnesses come to Bezdin, she committed adultery between 12 and 12 and a half, pre-chuppah. The husband never went to chuppah. There she gets skila at the entrance of the Bezdin. What happens? She committed adultery between 12 and 12 and a half, but it only came to Bezdin when she was beyond 12. She's 13 years old. Then she gets chenek. Even though the act happened when she was between 12 and 12 and a half, but since the verdict will be given when she's fully mature, then it's chenek like a regular woman who committed adultery. A regular woman who commits adultery, it's chenek. No, without where. It comes to light when she's 13 years old. Even though the witnesses are testifying she committed adultery between 12 and 12 and a half, it's chenek. Lememra, 1 second. So what are we saying? Since there was a physical change in her body, she went from Nara to Bogeres. She's considered a fully mature woman. Therefore, her predicament changes. The death penalty changes. I mean, it thoroughly says skila is what kind of girl if she's still a Nara. It says you stoned the Nara. But over here, we're not going to be stoning her. What is she? She's not a Nara. She's already a Bogeres. Since there was a physical change, she's no longer Nara. Therefore, that changes the predicament of the death penalty. Therefore, you give a chenek. You give a strangulation. Okay? Or a mini. It's difficult. We learned In the Braiso, Tosefto, Nara Morosa, listen to this. A Nara who was betrothed. That's if Shezinso, committed adultery. Umishabogra Hotzo Leo Shemra. And after she was fully mature, he what? He was Motzi Shemra. 1 second. Who ain't a loke? Veino Semeo Sela. You hear this? Here 2 things happened. She committed adultery between 12 and 12 and a half. He consummates the marriage, and he brings witnesses that she committed adultery, let's say when she was 13. Or let's say at another date, not when she actually committed adultery. So he himself what? And then we bring witnesses to prove that his witnesses were what? Were false witnesses. So she's liable for the death penalty, right? Because there's a separate set of witnesses that she committed adultery before that. The husband never knew she committed adultery. Let's say she committed adultery when she was 12 years and a month. Okay? And the witnesses. Now the husband marries her a year later, or 3 months later. He brings witnesses when she was 12 years and 3 months she committed adultery. So we're talking about 2 different dates. Now we prove that his witnesses conspired. So normally it's called Motzi Shemra. He's a slanderer. But here, who did he actually slander? A woman who actually committed adultery, not when he said he committed adultery. She committed adultery prior, right? Because there's another set of witnesses saying at a different date she did commit adultery. So do you give him lashes, and does he have to pay the penalty? So it says in the Tosefta, in the Brisa, Nara Marosa Shizinso, Umishabogro, Hotzi L'Shemer, when she was fully mature, he went and he slandered her. Who ain't a lokav ain't no seller. He doesn't get malchus, and he doesn't pay the penalty. He v'zomamelo, but she and the conspiring witnesses that the husband brought, Magdim Beisaskila, they both put to death. Well, she, because she committed adultery, and the Zomim, because they conspired to put her to death. Right, 1 second. So it says, he was Zomimel. I mean, if she's being put to death, that means she's guilty, so why the Zomim? He was Zomel. Oh, he, oh, Zomel. I mean, whichever one is. If she committed adultery, she's put to death. And if the witnesses conspired, then the witnesses are put to death. Yeah. Omar Rovo, Motzi Shemra Kamrit. You're asking a question of Motzi Shemra, right? We said. We say when there's a physical change, we say then the what changes? The punishment changes. So here, what are the cases we're talking about here? Narmo Rosa Shezinso, and then Shebogra, and after she became a Bulgaris, the husband was Motzi Shemra. Right? We're talking about we're talking about Motzi Shemra. We're not talking about she's deserving the death penalty. Factually, the husband slandered. He accused her of adultery. It was proven that the accusation was false. So we're not talking about death penalty. She's not subject to the death penalty. We're talking about, does he have an obligation to pay the $100? Does he get malchus? Shani Motzi Shemra, the chidushu. Motzi Shemra is a chidush. What's the chidush? She entered the chuppah, v'lo nivelo. Second. Well, mishum nishtoni dinot izanoi hashta bascheneki. Riga. 1 second. Shani hot Motzi Shemra de chidushu. Do nichvus el chuppah, v'lo nivelo balmo v'zinso v'lo nivelo balmo. Zinso b'chenek v'ilo Motzi Shemra b'skilo. Okay, we'll stop here today.